Let's move on to the president, the incumbent president, who announced his candidacy yesterday. He took questions in the Rose Garden with the South Korean president, who is here visiting. It's the first time the president's taken questions from reporters in a while, and certainly the first time since he'd officially declared his candidacy. He's looked at the polls. He was asked about the polls. Even a lot of Democrats say, I think he's maybe too old to run. The president says, I'll prove them wrong.
How old I am, I can't even say the number. It doesn't register with me. They're going to judge whether or not I have it or don't have it. I respect them taking a hard look at it. I take a hard look at it as well. I took a hard look at it before I decided to run. And I feel good. I feel excited about the prospects. And I think we're on the verge of really turning the corner in a way we haven't in a long time.
That's the president's answer here. Two of the Republicans at the bottom of the pack, Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, former governor and the current senator from South Carolina, they every day take issue with the president's age.
If you vote for Joe Biden, you really are counting on a President Harris, because the idea that he would make it until 86 years old is not something that I think is likely.
That should be a scary proposition. The only thing worse than a Joe Biden presidency is a Kamala Harris presidency.
It's an interesting tactic in the Republican primary. Look, general election voters will settle this. The president has no serious primary challenge at the moment. But the Republicans making it about Harris as much as making it about Biden.
And look, the polling has shown that Democrats, in terms of those across America, are not necessarily enthused about another Biden campaign. But what I hear from liberal groups and progressives is that their members understand what's at stake in this election, in their words. And you can see that President Biden's first ad, it takes aim at that argument that you have a choice here. Democracy, freedom. If these are things that you care about, then vote for Joe Biden. And that's certainly a case we continue to expect him to make, but also look for him to focus on the economy.
Tonight, Donald Trump is in New Hampshire, looking to cement his Republican frontrunner status by courting voters in what on the Republican calendar is still the first in the nation primary state. New campaign TV ad spending shares that same goal, with a sharp attack on Trump's closest campaign rival.
Ron DeSantis was struggling big time in his primary race for governor of Florida. Polls revealed DeSantis was failing so bad, he was losing by a staggering 17 points. Then, DeSantis was saved by the endorsement of President Trump. Instead of being grateful, DeSantis is now attacking the very man who saved his career.
Our great reporters back at the table with us. Trump has a formidable lead. If you look at the latest Fox poll, it's even going up. He was at 43% in February. He's at 53% now. DeSantis goes from 28 to 21. Everybody else is way down. And yet they've decided that's Trump campaign money. It's not super PAC money to essentially try to push DeSantis even more. Why?
Right, because they feel that he is their most formidable threat in a Republican primary, which is why they're going after him so aggressively. I mean, you've talked, there's been, months ago when we sort of started to talk about the 2024 conversation, people characterized Ron DeSantis as sort of the Trumpiness without the Trump chaos. So, of course, he would start to become a viable alternative to the former president. The former president's team recognize that and are trying to bludgeon him as much as possible, even before he makes the decision to formally run, which we expect to happen sometime next month. And the problem for DeSantis right now is that he can't really fight back. He is not an official candidate. He does. There is an affiliated super PAC defending him and promoting him, but that's not a campaign operation. So perhaps if and when he becomes a candidate, the numbers do change a little. He is able to fight back, but he hasn't. No one has really taken the opportunity to bludgeon Trump because they're all afraid of the Trump voters, afraid of angering the base.
That's the key point. If you're trying to be Trump without the drama, which is the DeSantis MO in this campaign, attacking Trump might cost you more votes than it gets you, which is why it's hard. He's also in this big fight with Disney. He's trying to take away essentially government autonomy Disney has over its land. That's a bit of an overstatement, but it's relative autonomy Disney has over its land. DeSantis says it shouldn't exist anymore because he doesn't like some of Disney's policies. He calls them too woke. Disney is now suing the governor. Governor DeSantis is in Israel today, part of an international tour, and he says the suit is bogus.
I don't think the suit has merit. I think it's political. They're upset because they're actually having to live by the same rules as everybody else. The idea that somehow being pro-business means giving companies their own governments, that is not what a free market is all about.
That is a response to a lot of the conservative criticism have said, why, Governor, are you trying to use the power of the government against this private business? There, at least, is an attempt at an answer.
And I mean, I think the answer makes sense until you realize that Ron DeSantis was fine with allowing Disney to have its own government until Disney started doing things politically that Ron DeSantis didn't agree with. Florida Republicans and Democrats have for decades been okay with this setup that allows Disney to essentially govern itself and its own properties. So the lawsuit that Disney has filed is basically saying that the new policies, the new oversight, the new structures that Ron DeSantis has put into place is not about good government. It's about punishing the company and its leaders for having a political position and expressing their First Amendment rights. And so that's their argument, why they say what DeSantis has done is politically motivated, not about good government.